people who share your values. They self-identify. How do they self-identify? Because you do a mailing, right? A fundraising mailing. Somebody persuades you to rent a list or exchange a list, or maybe even it's people in your database who haven't given in a while. And guess what? They self-identify by sending in a gift. And what do? They take the check. We send them a receipt. We put them into the donor database, and we say, wow, that's great. Next year, for our annual fund, we'll go back and ask them again. And we don't put them into any kind of loop at all. We may send them an occasional e-newsletter or whatever, but there's no personal contact. How many of you do thankathons? See, here's a huge opportunity. Huge opportunity. Thankathons are fun. Yes, boys and girls, thankathons are fun. Thankathons were started by our universities probably 25, 30 years ago. They got students around on these phones, and they started calling donors. But you know what? You can do a thankathon. And when you do a mailing and you get new donors, when you do a special event and you get a really good attendance, you then call these people and say, thank you for your gift. And you know what? If they're not there and you get the answering machine, you leave a message. And in between, you know, carpet cleaners with their special and somebody reminding you that you have a doctor's appointment, right in the middle is this amazing call that says, I just want to say thank you. You know, according to our records, this is the first gift you've ever made to us. We are just delighted. We're having a special event or an open house or whatever. I'll call you back and see if you'd be interested in coming. And then you just make sure that you do call back. But we forget. You know, here we are, we're texting and we're emailing, and we forget that the human voice is one of the most, it's the most connective tissue we have with people. Just hearing a voice, being able to respond. So, people who get involved with us will identify other people. And you do have to have systems. I'm not dissing the donor data maintenance system. In fact, if yours isn't working right, if people are getting 5 mailings with 5 different names, you better go home and fix it. The other thing that we need, and here's where board members have a huge responsibility in terms of working with the organization, to make sure that there's consistent messaging. And what we do sometimes is in our direct mail or when we're feeling desperate for money, we have one message. And then when we're doing something like a foundation proposal or a major gifts proposal or something, it's a completely different message. That message is how we've been around for 40 years and we're going to be around for another 40 years, and this is a long-term investment, whereas the desperation one is all about, you know, we're not going to make our budget this year and we're looking at, you know, maybe having to close our doors unless you give to us. Don't do it. Don't do it. Remember that the only thing that that donor really cares about is your impact on the mission that you have dedicated yourself to and the difference it's making in the community. And if you're going through tough financial times, you know what? So is everybody else. And I was so just knocked out by some of the letters that I got during the depths of the December doldrums. And these were upbeat letters, and one was from a board that I sit on, and talk about something hard to fund. The Alliance of Artist Communities, I mean, how relevant does that feel at a time when people are losing their jobs and are homeless and everything else? She made it relevant. She made it relevant because she talked about what artists, you know, just the spirit and the gift and how important that is to encourage it. It was an amazing letter. And so what we see then is that it gets back to the values. It gets back to the values. And if your values are not evident in what you send out, if they are shrouded in the kind of the desperate tone that you have, then I'm not going to connect with it. I am not going to say, oh, well, gee, I think I could spare a little bit for for this organization because I really care about the same thing.